Welcome, guys, to another episode of those Muckrakers. This is episode number 27, The Rise and Fall of Paul Manafort.
It's gonna be a glorious day. Oh my god.
Well,
Watching him squirm in court. Have you seen the pictures that have come out of it?
I haven't seen the pictures. The little bit of reading I did about the trial of Paul Manafort, just to give you some background, if you're tuning in, if we're the only news you listen to, Paul Manafort, Paul Manafort.
Speaking of names, I'm Pat.
Oh yeah, and I'm Pete. And welcome. So Paul Manafort was Trump's campaign manager up
For
until
several months, by the way.
yeah
They
yeah
like to pretend like that it was just for this short little time and he was just like the coffee boy intern that no one really
right
knew.
yeah. So he was
No,
done.
he was a major contributor to the campaign. He headed it for a long time.
He was Trump's campaign manager. He was a unregistered foreign agent, I believe, working with the Russians and some other stuff.
And the Turks and
Yeah, which is a really big deal to be an unregistered foreign agent and work on be the campaign manager of a president. Added to that, he is being tried for, what is it, tax evasion?
right now it's about the taxes. Keep in
Right.
mind that there's going to be two major trials. This is the one about the taxes and his own personal problems.
Right.
The next one's going to be the one about the Russian collusion, and that's
Right.
coming next month.
So yeah, he's basically, they're getting him for what Al Capone got for, which is tax evasion. Had a whole bunch of offshore money, didn't declare it, this, that, and the other. What I was reading about the trial, I really like so far, is the judge just off the top told everyone that they are not to mention Russian collusion, a couple other things, because this trial is solely about tax evasion and tax fraud.
Yep. And they do. I love how they're painting him. Whenever the prosecutors are bringing up all the different details of him, they like to bring up that he had like a 28 or 20 something $1,000 python jacket and ostrich jacket, and how he would just spend lavishly on all these different coats.
I don't understand why. Let's see. Let me sidebar for a second.
It makes him sound like the type of person the jury would hate, because you got to keep in mind that jurors are still people, and you still have to paint someone in a certain light.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
them.
yeah. No, I hate it whenever someone's rich and it's like, what did he spend all his money on? Oh, he bought 4 Lamborghinis and a fucking ostrich scrotum skin jacket. And you're like,
Yeah.
you could have spent your money on so much more cool stuff. Like, it would, they would have been like, and that's when Peter began taking martial arts lessons directly from the Gracie brothers. You know, like I would do cool stuff, not like I bought a bunch of expensive jackets like an idiot.
Yeah. What's the Secretary of Education's name again?
Oh, Betsy DeVos.
Yeah, DeVos. I thought it was funny that her yacht got like released to the ocean until I found out. Oh, she has 11 others. Well, never mind then.
Yeah, so that
She's not even gonna be able to know which yacht was vandalized.
that's so problematic that like a woman, yeah, that's another rich threat. Why do you need to own 11 yachts? You can only
12.
drive 12. Well, I guess
They set one of them free.
did they catch it?
Yeah, yeah. It ran into like a dock or something and got some scratches.
Good. But that's the thing. You own 12 yachts. You can't drive them all at the same time, so it literally is pointless. It's like owning multiple Lamborghinis. You can only drive one Lamborghini at a time, maybe 2 if you're really cool.
I like this old sketch by Stephen Colbert. He said that he drove his Hummer until it ran out of gas, and he threw it away and got another one.
I don't know, man. Like, instead of 12 stupid yachts, how about like one super piratey yacht, right?
That would be cool, like a giant galleon.
Yeah. Like somebody set DeVos's giant pirate galleon loose today. It's now known as the Flying Dutchman. It's loose on the high seas. Like, rich people are so unimaginative with their money. It's heartbreaking and boring.
Yep.
Like, if I was Paul Manafort, I would have spent millions of dollars becoming an escape artist. From like the world's top like escape, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that would come in super handy for him right now, because he's probably never going to see the light of day again.
right? Like, why? So why wouldn't you prepare for the eventual like possibility? Like, all right, I mean,
These people clearly never saw things catching up, their deeds catching back up.
maybe it's because I have a special kind of paranoia. But if I was Paul Manafort, I would have spent so much money on like escape artist stuff, getting my pilot's license for everything, buying a helicopter that would eventually be used to spring me in the middle of the court. You know what I mean? I'd be doing some supervillain shit, like, you know?
Yeah, one of those helicopters that would like blow up the roof of the court, and then like a ladder would extend down, and I'd grab hold of it and be like, "I'll get you next time, He-Man," and
Yeah.
it flies me out of there.
I'd be spending some crazy like money to do some Bane type stuff, and they're like, "Oh no!" Like, today in the news, Manafort had accomplices rip the roof off the court building, and he escaped via rope ladder on a helicopter while saying the fire also rises. Like, you know what I mean? I would like, you got all that money and you wasted it on an ostrich jacket. You deserve to go to jail.
Yep.
And also,
And that's where he'll be spending the rest of his
well,
days.
possibly. I mean, like, it's still like, here's the thing: he's still on trial. It hasn't been proven yet. As much as we hate Paul Manafort, and like, the thing about it is,
Sure, sure. We'll trust our justice system and see what they
yeah,
say.
yeah,
But I mean, a whole lot of people have already pled guilty. So according to the justice system, a whole lot of people are already guilty in this
yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah.
conspiracy.
I put faith in the justice system because what else
But
can you
but
do?
but but this still isn't the collusion
Yeah,
case.
yeah,
This
yeah, and
is
that's
a
good. And
different
that's
thing.
so they're. I feel like they're securing the smart money first. The other thing they said about this trial that was fascinating was that they usually don't try to prosecute for stuff like this because it's really hard to convict.
Right?
So if this is going to be the first case, because this kind of like gives or takes away the momentum for the rest of the prosecutions, if they chose this to be their first one and they're prosecuting it, then that means that they probably have a very strong case, and it's got to be like you would open with your slam dunk. You wouldn't open with a maybe he will get evicted, but maybe he won't.
And actually, the judge said that this should get wrapped up a lot faster than anticipated, because they were thinking it would be 4 to 5 weeks to finish this case.
Yeah.
And the judge right now is thinking 1 or 2, and we're probably
That's
going to be done
that's always bad because innocent
there's
people
such
don't.
an overwhelming amount of evidence.
Yeah, yeah.
right now.
Innocent people don't ever get off like in like 2 weeks. Like anytime you're like the jury only had to deliberate for 3 minutes, that dude's going to the electric chair. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, juries don't
So,
don't. Yeah, speedy trial does not like innocent men don't get speedy trials.
yeah. The speaking of speedy trials, Giuliani. It was so funny watching him on TV just say, "Well, they have no evidence on Trump," and then he just starts going over all the evidence, saying they have this, but oh, that's nothing, and they have this, and that's whatever. He's just like dismissing stuff as not, definitive proof. Ergo, it's not evidence, right?
Yeah,
And like now they have a witness that Trump knew about the Russian collusion ahead of time with Cohen, right?
yeah.
But they're saying, oh, well, that doesn't count because it's just something someone says. Yeah, that's a witness. That's what a witness is, right? It's
Well,
evidence.
what's and like I brought up on the last thing, what's really cool is so now they have all these other people that were possibly at the meeting testifying under oath, or two federal agencies that they were not there,
Yep.
or
And
that
we
it was.
don't know what those people are saying. We're going to find that out during the proper
So,
trial.
so that's what's great about Cohen because now Cohen is pointing fingers and going, and he was there, and old man Jimson was there too. You were all there, like so. By him doing that, now these people face the other people that were possibly in on the meeting face the possibility of going away for perjury or flipping on other people and hopefully eventually delivering the big cheese himself. But that's
the big cheese that just incriminated himself further this week. That's great.
yeah. Well, he's
And
demanding.
So did his lawyer further incriminated him. That was wonderful.
I still
Did
think
you note that,
Giuliani. I think Giuliani is. I gotta believe that Giuliani is an FBI deep plant.
Possibly because did you know that there were not one, but two different planning meetings ahead of time that Trump apparently knew about because Giuliani unprompted said, and Trump wasn't at either of the planning meetings. And it's like, planning meetings?
Yeah.
That absolutely nobody knew happened. Like, nobody knew there was one.
Giuliani's the
two.
kind of guy
and
that
Giuliani said that, and we found out about it from Giuliani, who said, well, Trump didn't know anything about it. Well,
Giuliani's
now we do.
Giuliani's the kind of guy that would go, and you won't find Trump's fingerprints on the shroud of the dead body that is buried. And like you're like, wait, what? A body's buried where? Right, but you won't find the president's fingerprints on it. Like, did you just admit to knowledge of a murder that we didn't know about? America.
America!
Yeah, you couldn't have asked for a better lawyer. Like,
speaking of people that affect the law, by which I mean Attorney General Jeff Sessions, Trump went on Twitter this week to demand his Attorney General kind of sort of shut down the whole investigation, which is further obstruction of justice, calling for a man who's recused himself from involving himself in this whole investigation to shut Mueller down.
You know, you almost feel bad for Sessions. Uh,
Ooh.
Almost.
Don't, cause he
No.
did something really rotten this week.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah, I
get
know
to
he
that
did. I know
later.
that. That's why I say almost because he's like he's doing
By rotten, I mean literal death squads could be coming to a town near you.
he's
But
do
yeah,
like
continue.
he's doing his best to like serve his evil master, and his evil master is just like, you failed me for the last time, and he's like, wait, what? Like he's kind of Sessions is kind of like one of those admirals on one of the Star Destroyers in Star Wars who were like, my Lord Vader, it was, we could not have predicted that a couple of scrappy rebels would blow up the entire Death Star a part. I mean, how could that have happened? You like they're just doing their best to be evil, and he's just like, perhaps I will find a way to persuade you. Like, dude, he did the best he could. Like, he's as evil as evil can be.
You are a rebel spy and a traitor. Okay, take her away. Sad.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing if that whole like all of the Vader's things were just redone as Donald Trump?
And of course, Putin would be the emperor.
Just Trump going, lock her up, and then they lock up Leia.
I feel conflict in you, comrade.
Yeah, so
no
he.
conflict. Okay, that's fake news. The fake news is the enemy of the people.
The problem with Mueller, though, that they're talking about, and this is kind of scary, is that Mueller doesn't actually believe that a sitting president can be indicted.
Is that true? Or did someone just say that?
I read it in an article that I'm actually trying to pull back up right now.
If there's like a real source for that, then that's... Well, but I mean, Mueller's not the one that's really gonna... Well, would the investigator be the prosecutor of this case, or would he just hand his findings over to someone else to prosecute?
Well, this comes from Ken Starr, and the Washington Post.
Ken Starr does not believe that a sitting president can be impeached.
No,
That's
Ken
true.
Ken
But
Starr.
Mueller, I don't know what Mueller says.
Oh, it says Mueller's team told Trump's lawyers the special counsel cannot indict a sitting president. Oh, Giuliani says. Oh, yeah, okay, so yeah, maybe, yeah, all right, never mind. Yeah,
that's why I said, did someone just say it? What I was specifically meaning was, did Giuliani just say this?
Yeah, you're getting that from Ken Starr. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. My sources were suspect. Okay, good point. Either way, look, as much as I would love to see Trump go to jail, all I really care about is he's removed from government. That's the win,
Like
because even
he's doing extremely severe damage to America. He needs to be stopped before we can staunch the bleeding. We gotta get the knife that's just spinning around in the open wound out.
I love your weird analysis of like, how many people have you stabbed, Waldo? Like, where the knife's just you sound like Trump when he was talking about like you have to have ID to buy groceries this week. When a knife is just
thing. Trump further shows how he's able to understand the plight of flyover country by saying, and the IDs you have to use to get groceries, okay? Like whenever you go to buy your soda pops or your bees for a nickel, okay?
Well, the thing was,
your
like,
ID.
People keep trying to defend that whole you need ID to buy grocery thing. Oh, he meant alcohol. Like, they always do that. He says some real dumb stuff, and then they basically try to... Oh,
Trump doesn't drink alcohol, so why would he consider that just normal groceries that everyone gets?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they try to explain it away, but it's like,
Yeah,
no, he's an out of touch fake con man billionaire that like has never had to work a day in his life. He understands so little that he doesn't even have to buy his own groceries.
Exactly. He doesn't know anything about anything. He just has people do it for him, and so whenever it comes to him understanding what people do, he doesn't have a clue.
I would have so much fun as a president buying my own groceries.
I'm not sure if they would let you usually.
I'm the goddamn president. Who's going to stop me?
I mean, it would be kind of an inconvenience for the store because the Secret Service would have to go in there and secure the place, and it would cost taxpayers money.
Not if I
But then
just
again, I mean, actually, no, I'm going to walk that back a bit because Obama did that a few times. He just walked into stores and it freaked out Secret Service, but
yeah, I was
he
gonna
did
say
that.
yeah, exactly. I
And
would
there
just
was even this one case where a guy like ran up and like gave Obama a bear hug. He was so excited to see him. And
um
Secret Service was like not sure whether they should tase the guy or not, but ultimately they just like stood around and watched it.
well, I mean,
And I was thinking
Obama.
that guy could have been an assassin, and
It's amazing Obama wasn't killed because there was a guy that managed to like the security during the Obama era was so bad, and I don't know why. That somehow a guy got into the White House and was on an elevator with Obama and had a gun.
really.
Yeah, I'll find the story at some point and post it. But yeah, like somehow he had breached White House security and was on the same elevator as Obama or something like that, or like in the same room with the president, and he's armed.
Huh.
But yeah, there was a couple of like just people making it into the White House or onto the lawn before they were just like gunned down, you know.
I. So I have a few. Oh wait, is there anything else we have to bring
Oh, I was
up
just making
about?
fun of your whole like like when you get stabbed and the knife is just spinning in the wound, you know.
I was trying to think of the word twisting, but I didn't think of
Okay,
it
that
before
makes
it
more
was time
sense.
for more
We have
words.
to we have to stop twisting the knife in the wound. I just love the idea of a knife just free spinning in your chest. Like what the hell? Yeah.
Well, that's what Trump is doing to the soul of this country. He's just a knife that is spinning around. Like spin the bottle. It's like that, but in the chest cavity, Peter.
He
And you
reminds
won't find their fingerprints on them, not
he
mine.
reminds me of the description I once heard of if you get a glass dust in your eye. What
Mm.
happens is as you move your eye around, those bits of glass continue to shred the ocular cavity even worse every time you
Mm.
move your eye.
So it makes you feel bad for the Ice Queen.
Yeah. So
That's
interesting.
an old fable, not just a crazy thing I said. But anyway,
Interesting. Oh man, you made me lose my train of thought, and I was going to say something else about Trump this week and eye sockets and glass and stuff, but now I lost it.
hmm.
So yeah, I guess go ahead. You were going to
Well,
say something before I completely derailed my train of thought here.
so I saw a deplorable this week tweeting out the idea that health care for all Americans would cost us something like $30 trillion over the next 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, that's completely ludicrous. That much money doesn't exist on planet Earth. People with no concept of really big numbers just made this up,
Well,
right?
let me stop you there real quick because this is fascinating. So the reason right now that our healthcare is so artificially inflated is because the system allows people to inflate the actual costs of healthcare, right?
Yeah, they can charge you whatever the fuck they want
And it
because they know that insurance will pay it.
Yeah, so healthcare doesn't actually cost that. So whatever figures that we currently have for healthcare are wildly overestimated in the fact that there's no third party system like the government that goes, okay, so you want to charge $300 for a colonoscopy? Our money guys have looked
300.
and said it'll be about $70, so we're going to pay about $70.
Colonoscopy costs like 10,000, 15,000. It's around $15,000.
Yeah.
It's 10,000 for the trip to the hospital plus 5,000 for the
Right.
procedure.
That's absolutely insane. So yeah, so any
Yeah.
numbers we're looking at with our healthcare, we actually have to look for other systems and then kind of adjust for our country and our population. But yeah,
Yeah.
it wouldn't. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, a counter argument I saw came from Alexandria Cortez in an interview where she made me like her even more than before. She finally directly said what most politicians don't have the spine to say, which is how we can pay for health care. She just directly stated that we need to reprioritize our spending and maybe not keep flooding the military with cash they didn't even ask for, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, that's the other thing.
Like
Like,
we just recently approved another, what is it? Was it 700 million or 700 billion dollars
I
to the
would, I would, I
military?
would, I would assume it was probably a billion. But yeah, like that's the
They didn't
thing.
ask for it though. They just
Yeah.
the Congress decided we're going to spend this money on that. Well, if we had fucking spent it on healthcare in college, we could have healthcare in college for
Well, that's the
everyone.
thing. We don't need that much money, especially for a fucking peacetime army. Like every other
Yeah.
war
Well,
except for. Go ahead.
It's not even the soldiers do not need the money. It's arms manufacturers
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
use that money to build shit that we're never going to use, right?
Yeah.
Planes that cost $2 billion to make that will never ever be flown by anyone. It's just built and then it sits there. But the act of building it means that they just earned $2 billion,
Well,
and now they
also
get to
you got to
line their
remember too that
coffers with
it's
more
a
money.
deeply unpopular stance because any your political enemy can go after you and go, "Oh, he doesn't want our country to be safe. He wants to cut military spending." So
Yeah, because
it's
that's
yeah.
an easy argument to make that deplorables can understand. Because if you start to show them the numbers, and it's like we don't need that money, okay? That's a lot harder for someone to understand than, well, I
Well,
want to be safe, put money into the
so
military.
it's this yeah, it's the same way that people argue that people who are against Trump's border wall just want open borders
And
and
they
don't
want
want
to
any.
legalize crime,
Yeah,
right?
they
Ooh.
basically want the nation to become the purge, but with Mexicans. Um, I'm like, dude, look, I understand your need for border security. I think you're a fucking coward
Yeah.
for wanting a border. But at the same time, I would be willing to listen to some reasonable border security things. If indeed you can show me by the numbers that we need border security, or that in any way we need to put any more money into like border and immigration and and deportment enforcement, I think the money we've given them right now is adequate. So if you can show me that, sure, I'm all about like let's try to walk the line between protecting people. But what I can't see any point in is building a giant wall that won't work anyway because it's a stupid idea.
Yep.
Like it
I
doesn't.
mean,
That doesn't.
for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
For one thing, like what is it, 70 or 75% of all undocumented workers got here legally with a visa, and they just overstayed their visa. One, two, these are just people looking to make a better lives for themselves and their family. They're not here to commit crimes. Three, if
Well,
they do commit crimes, they actually commit it at
I
a
heard.
much lower rate than
Yeah, I
other
heard.
Americans.
I heard one guy.
Which deplorables always counter by saying, "Well, they're here illegally, so that makes them criminals automatically."
I
I mean, like real crimes, not misdemeanors.
I heard one guy say that maybe if we build the wall and build it tall and make it like really hard to if it becomes really difficult, maybe people will stop trying to come over. And I go, it's really hard to outweigh like, all right, so you can stay in your country of origin that's destabilized and maybe your family is being threatened with death and rape, right? So you could either watch your family killed in front of you after they've been like raped and tortured, and then you yourself raped, tortured, and killed. Or you can run across a desert and hopefully get past some border security and live a better life. So it's really gonna be a hard unless you build a giant wall that rapes people. It's like you're gonna have a really hard time building anything that is a
They
bigger.
actually kind of have that with ICE right now, because
Oh
ICE
yeah,
is
yeah.
molesting people
I
in
knew
captivity,
that was gonna happen as soon as like we're like, oh yeah, there's little to no oversight. I'm like,
and they
yep,
don't let anyone in there.
yep. Any minute now.
So yeah, of course they're fucking the children that they have in
Yep,
cages.
yep, yep, yep. Any minute, like,
But
because that's someone inevitably. Any time that like you don't have like oversight, someone's like, "What if we just fuck these kids?" Every
yep,
single time. And of course, yep, ICE, yep. And now the fucking kids. I'm like, that's great, that's fantastic. And then the other thing is like, that kids like there are so like as a teacher, there are so many rules that go into like kids in schools and like watching them and whatnot, right?
right.
Like, we're not allowed to have a kid in a classroom if there is not like a certified adult present. That the kid just can't be alone just in a classroom. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Right.
Yeah. That's just basic school. So now these kids are just alone in cages with unvouched for adults. So yeah, of course they're getting sexually assaulted.
Uh, but back to healthcare.
Yeah, sorry, it just made me
This is
mad
kind.
because I was just waiting for
Oh,
the whole
absolutely.
yeah.
Yep.
That's why everyone's going dissolve ICE because this
Yeah,
job could easily.
they need to. I'm with Cortez on that too. Dissolve ICE and prosecute these people to the fullest extent of the
Yeah,
law.
this job could easily be done by other agencies that already do it and do it better and also don't rape children.
Yep. So, moreover, and this next part is really the crux of the argument at this point, a study was put out saying that Bernie Sanders' health care plan would save America billions of dollars,
Right.
rather than cost it trillions.
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
And do you know which bleeding heart liberal organization funded the study which found this result?
Was it the Bilderberg Group or whatever that's called?
It was the Koch brothers.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
not their young liberal children, but the actual hardcore far right wing dingbat Koch
yeah.
brothers.
Well, they're in a weird place now too because while they're killing public transportation systems, they're also having to fight the president that they helped elect because, oh my God, guess what? He's fucking bad for business.
Well, they actually didn't help. They never donated any money to Trump. They still elected other Republicans in other districts, but they
Yeah.
stayed away from giving Trump money last election.
Yeah, but they could have
But
turned the tide in Congress and like had a better long-term political strategy with all that
yeah,
money. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. But of course, the president took to Twitter to rant about them whenever they released that study, and he called them a bunch of globalists. So, of course, in today's world, apparently even the most extreme right-wing billionaire is too far to the left.
right, because the thing is, it's not left and right anymore. It's either you agree with Trump or you disagree with him, and there can be no policy discussion. That's why he wraps himself in the American flag and basically calls himself like America. So you're either patriotic and you support this buffoon, or you're some kind of left-wing radical. I mean, that's how it works. Like that's how you
Yeah.
know. That's how dictators do it. Dictators don't go, "Oh, my policies are a little bit right, and this guy's a little bit left," or nope. It's yeah.
It's I mean, really, Godwin's law is kind of dead at this point, don't you think?
Oh, it
It's
wasn't. Well, didn't Godwin just go? Yeah, you know what? Just call people Nazis because they're back.
Godwin's law states that any argument on the internet, given enough time, will eventually result in one side calling the other one Hitler, right?
Yeah.
But this, of course, muddies the water when trying to explain to people that Trump has enormous and growing parallels to the rise and tactics of Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. These days, people who bark about Godwin's law while Trump drives us into fascism are basically telling you, forget about history, because others have abused it in the past, we're just going to have to walk blindly into it today.
Yeah, like, I mean, I will say this. I feel like Hitler probably gave way better speeches than Trump. I can't understand what
Yeah.
Hitler's saying, but it sounds a lot more interesting than Trump's speeches, which are just long and boring and rambling.
Yeah, but he uses tiny words that his followers can understand, so they like it. Wall, I know what wall means. Hell yeah, Trump 2020.
Yeah, the latest thing I read the other day was this picture about, I guess, like right wingers putting up photos of them holding guns to own the libs, and now they're holding up guns and straws and going, if you can't take my gun, what makes you think you'll take my straws? And I'm like,
What?
I mean, no one cares if
That,
you use a straw. They're just saying that maybe just handing them out willy-nilly at stores puts way too many in the, environment. But no one's saying you can't go buy your own straws.
yeah, it's Jesus.
Yeah, it's like banning smoking indoors. No one says you can't smoke, you know?
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, uh, it just reminds me of like the latest insult is soy boy. Like that's really catching on the internet.
Oh yeah,
Like I've seen it.
I got called a soy boy a couple weeks ago.
That's yeah, it's catching on. Like they think that that's an insult, so they keep using it just to the perplexion of anyone that doesn't even eat soy. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? But of
Well,
course, that's just another word for you don't agree with Trump. Soy.
well, what it is. It's so cults have their own language and their own words for like that cult members understand when you call somebody this or that. You know, it's like with Scientology
I,
when they call somebody an
yes.
SP or a suppressive person or whatever. Like,
It's like when the alt right calls someone a globalist. What they're really saying is that person's a Jew.
yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of weird cult speak. Um, yeah, I got in an argument. They called me a soy boy and this, that, and the other, and I'm just like, yeah, well, you're still dumb, so I don't know if you think I'm gonna get upset. Yeah, you're all stupid. That's what I'm throwing out there. Yeah, so I don't know, man. I'm waiting for the rest of the trials to start. I'm also interested in the midterms.
Oh yeah.
I am upset though because like it's like you not only do you have to fight the far right and the rise of like Nazism, we also have to fight the goddamn Democrats because they're scared of Cortez and like her movement. And I'm like, dude. I know we talked about this last time, but it's like, why are you not
Yeah.
fastening on to her and her movement and giving your party new blood and like just being like, yes, uh-huh.
I'm actually happy that Bernie Sanders is doing that. Now,
Of course he was, because
Bernie's
like,
not at all new blood, but I mean he's still a relatively new face in the whole arena.
Yeah, I worry that he's old,
I
he's
mean,
gonna die, and the fucking fires are gonna go out. This whole like, every time I get hope,
possibly. I hope that he passes the torch on to her. That way, all of his followers will follow her through the
wouldn't it be
next,
amazing if she
50,
wouldn't,
60
wouldn't it be
years.
amazing if she ran as she won the Democratic primary in 2020?
She can't. She's nowhere close to 35.
Oh, frig, you got to be 35. Damn it, man. Let's lower
Yep.
that age.
We really need to. It's so not this or the next election, but maybe the one after that one she'll be old enough. What is she, 28?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, like, yeah, man. And that's the problem is
40,
like,
so 2028 we might see President Cortez. Space Cortez.
Space Cortez. I mean, it's cool though, cause like, well, she hasn't even won her general election yet, right?
The pretty sure she won it. What do you mean?
No, she hasn't won the general election. She won the primary, right?
Oh, yeah. She won that. It's the next election's not until November when everyone else is voting.
So the
And
problem
so
is
that's
that
going to be fun because I'm pretty sure that next month is when everything changes because Trump has really been losing it lately because he found out that Mueller wants to talk to him about obstruction now.
oh, that was my favorite
And
thing.
it was between that and watching Paul Manafort's trial on TV and him ranting on Twitter about it, saying that Manafort's being treated worse than what was it? Instead of Al Capone, it was Alphonse Capone. Then Alphonse Capone, but he's saying that
Was
because
Al Capone treated really badly because he murdered a lot of people?
he was not treated badly. No,
Yeah.
that's just something Trump's saying. But
Well, I think that I
yeah.
think that somehow somebody told him that Capone was a good guy, or he believes that Capone was innocent, and he says like, "This is just like the witch hunt when they tried to convict Al Capone. Okay, there was no tax fraud, just like there was no collusion."
But yeah, so while Trump's losing his mind about that, he has been saying that he's against his lawyer's recommendation, is willing to talk to Mueller. But here's the thing: what's your source for he's willing to talk to Mueller? Trump, right?
Yeah.
And Trump has been shown, according to PolitiFact, to lie 96% of the time. That's just quantitative facts.
Right. So
If he says something, there's a 96% chance that it's full of shit.
so he's not gonna talk to Mueller.
There's a 4% chance he will, but I don't know.
Well-
And in all likelihood, he's probably going to get cold feet because you got to remember that at the end of the day, he's chicken shit.
Yeah.
But
Well, like I
it
know.
would be hilarious if he did actually talk to Mueller and talk to the FBI under oath. Ooh, that's his quickest ticket out of there.
Well, I mean, yeah. Even then, you got to remember without Congress acting, nothing happens. And while there's a lot of Congress that hates him, there's a lot of Congress that's trying to keep their party intact, and then there's also the core of guys that are in the cult that like would never turn on him ever.
Well, we're just a few months away from the elections or the midterms.
Well, if it
and
doesn't again,
after that,
if it doesn't
then-
get hacked,
Yeah. I mean, we should see a blue wave, but also Trump's been in office for so long now that he's normalized a lot of his craziness. But hopefully we will see the blue wave that we're expecting.
I don't know, man.
But then,
I mean,
like you said, the Russians could just hack the election again and sweep
a
us all red.
mixture of Russians hacking. You can see a second red wave that removes almost every Democrat from Congress, anywhere that Democrats are vulnerable.
And like hell would Russians ever get rid of their golden ticket of the Russians just giving them elections. So at that point, we'll have a Congress in place, a government in place appointed by Putin that will never do anything to remove themselves from power, and then we just have to live with that.
Yeah, the darkest timeline, as I call it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we've kind of been in since Trump took office, since he was able to remove everyone that's even remotely competent from government and replace them with his menagerie of deplorables. Or
Yeah.
there's just like giant swaths of government that doesn't exist right now that really should. People that are, we thought, critical to our nation continuing that are just gone now, and we're still trucking on, but that's because, even though it doesn't take too long to kick down a sandcastle, it still takes a bit of time.
So tell me
Hasn't
about tell us
quite knocked down America in 2 years.
tell us about your That's Cute news for this week.
Okay, so in That's Cute news for this week, and actually not only do I have a That's Cute, but I have a possible That's Cute retraction. Which one would you like first?
Let's do the That's Cute News, then do the retraction, and then I'm going to do a piece that I'd like to start doing every week called Fuck You, Steve Forbes.
The piece de resistance.
Yeah.
That's cute news, GDP growth.
Oh, good.
So, Trump has been yelling about a 4.1% GDP growth from the rooftops, going on Hannity to parade it around, etc. But here's the thing, funny story. The CRFB says that the reason the GDP growth was 4.1% in April and June was the sheer number of people rushing to buy U.S. products before the tariffs are slammed down. So this is the equivalent of a store bragging about having huge sales during a going out of business sale.
Right, like Kmart every day.
Yeah, and the Trump administration keeps lying and saying Obama never hit 4%, but he actually did. He hit 4% for 5 out of the 8 years he was in office, and in fact he hit 5.2% in 2014.
Well, that's like I saw a article the other day, and by the way, my other segment I'm going to start doing is just going to be called Fuck You Newsweek.
Nice.
They printed an article, and they're fucking so misleading. This article was titled Trump actually approval rating 5 points higher than Obama's was at this point in his presidency.
No. That's like how whenever Trump this week said, "Oh, my approval ratings are so high, I'm actually doing better than Abraham Lincoln." Would someone fact check that? I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll fact check it. And turns out we did not check approval ratings back in Lincoln's time. That didn't start till like 50, was it 60, 70
well,
years
also,
after he died?
Lincoln you wouldn't want to compare your approval ratings to Lincoln because half the country left when he was inaugurated. So you would have approval ratings from the country, from the states that stayed, but you would probably have a much lower than like 35% approval rating. Like, yeah, your approval rating would plummet. Like,
Trump's actual approval rating is somewhere around 35 to 40%. Like, he is at Nixon when he was impeached.
So, well, the article because I read into it because I'm like, it doesn't seem right. And of course, I can't remember which poll they used. That's what I wanted to see. But apparently, this poll has constantly shown data trending higher for Trump every time this poll is used than any other poll. And I go, well, there you go. Clearly, if this poll is saying one thing and all the other polls are saying something different, there's something suspect in the people or the segment that they're polling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why you look at an aggregate of polls. One poll doesn't mean anything at all. You look at an aggregate and you see dozens and dozens of little data points. I told you though, like Newsweek,
draw a line. I don't know what Newsweek's doing, but they're becoming the new Fox News. They posted an article the other day about
I was going to say, not only do you take an aggregate of polls and draw a line through it, but you also weight the average. So if this poll has 1,000 and another poll has 500, the one that's 1,000 has twice the poll as the 500 one towards where the center of the line goes. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, like
that's how you find the actual approval ratings, and Trump has been consistently not good.
Yeah, and really I thought that Newsweek was I thought they were a pretty even-handed news organization, but apparently not. Like I
mean, even New York Times has some hardcore Trump supporters in their opinions section, right? Not in their real news section.
Well,
Trump supporters don't tend to actually write real news. They tend to just be opinion.
Yeah,
people.
well, Newsweek freaking posted they had a whole opinion piece by Ben Shapiro, darling of the right. I was like, why are we listening? And it was just this little mealy mouth like, the liberals want to take away my straws.
I saw one thing I was trying to remember earlier was this a tweet that someone had put out, or maybe it was an article, I don't know, where some deplorable was whining that there was something about some crimes by some immigrants in California, and they're like, so this happens in California and the liberals want to let more illegals in, but a turtle gets a straw stuck up its ass and they want to illegalize them? Give me a break. And it's like, yeah, god damn it. I mean, what are you supposed to say to someone like that?
This is someone who needs a straw stuck up his ass.
Yeah.
I think for people like that, what we should do is every bit of food that they eat or everything that they drink for the next month, we just shred bits of plastic and sprinkle it in. And he's like, why is there so much goddamn plastic every time I open a burger? Fucking plastic. Yeah, that's called pollution. That's what it's like. It's not that like they care more about a sea turtle than they do about a human life. It's that they're concerned about all human life because the ocean is integral to like life on Earth. I mean, my God, we're seeing firestorms in California. The South is being flooded. Like, dude,
Yeah,
come
this is
on.
the I think second hottest year in a row
Yeah, this is the
on
dawning of
record.
the age of
Age of-
Aquarius. Yeah, man, like, hey, if a turtle gets a straw stuck up its head, how about the human race is going to die out and then there will be no more illegal immigration because we're all dead?
So speaking of the human race dying out, the NRA news and my possible that's cute retraction news.
Okay, yeah, hit me, hit us with a retraction. We're doing retractions now like we're legitimate journalists?
So my
Like,
earliest
like, to our 14 listeners, we humbly apologize and offer you a full retraction on the story.
Speaking of our 14 listeners, I have a couple shout outs that I was going to wait till the end of the show, but I'm just going to sandwich it in right here in the middle.
What, did people like us?
Yeah. So we have a shout out to a guy named Jason. Hello and thanks for watching. And another shout out to someone named Team Jacob, which I'm assuming that's a Twilight reference, but also welcome to the viewership.
Wait, did they actually leave us like stars and commentary?
Someone else asked me if I would shout them out.
Well, tell them
But
that
yes.
the shout-outs are supposed to be reserved for VIPs, and you become a VIP on this show by going and finding those muckrakers on iTunes or Stitcher and giving us a damn rating. See, now you're just giving away the store.
You're right. Okay, so Jason and Team Jacob, we have homework for you now. Since we gave you a shout out, you have to go on what was it? iTunes?
iTunes or
iTunes.
Stitcher, wherever podcasts are listened to, and give us a. I don't care if it's one
Give
star,
us a
just give
rating.
us a damn rating and go, this show's great, this show sucks. Until you do, I issue a full retraction to those shout-outs.
Oh,
That's
he is
right.
calling you out. Do you want your shout outs back? You need to go on iTunes.
I feel like we're really going to have to start kidnapping people's children and holding them until we get more likes or stars or ratings on iTunes.
We are those ice rakers.
Yeah, we just dress as ICE agents because apparently you can just go kidnap people if you're ICE and you don't have to show a warrant. You don't have to have a badge or probable cause or any all the good stuff that protects us from unreasonable search and seizure. You just roll up with a beard and tell people to put the cell phone away, and then you can arrest whoever you want.
Yeah, yeah. You know why people who are undocumented workers, let's just go ahead and call them illegal immigrants like the deplorables want us to. You know why people who are illegals have all the same rights to the law that legals do? Because if you just kick someone out of the country without giving them a chance to show up in court, they can do it to anyone.
Yeah.
Because you can say, well, I'm a legal immigrant and I can prove, I mean, I'm a legal American and I can prove it. Oh, yeah? Prove it to who? Prove it to who? You're not
Yeah.
given a day in court, so you're just gone.
Pretty much. I mean, that's why I hate it when people do that whole thing about, you know what we need to fix crime in this country? We need a couple steely-eyed men with a rope and a wheel to take care of business. And I'm like, yeah, those were horrible times before we had law and order.
Yeah,
And
we're
I'm
just
sure,
fucking murdering random people at that
yeah,
point.
I'm sure
And,
that the
and
people,
literal witch hunts like Trump's talking
I'm
about.
sure that the people way out in the in the old west, if you had said, "Hey man, do you want a hanging posse or would you like, a judge and like a jury and some roads?" I think they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we'll take the judge and the roads and stuff because that sounds a lot better than just hanging a man and hoping you got the right one."
Yeah. So, possible that's cute retraction. Now, the my earliest reasoning behind that's cute news was specifically to talk about protesters of gun violence because their nonviolent protests were just cute to me because they thought that anything would ever come from it, right?
Uh-huh.
And because I've seen gun violence virtually my entire life, as just one school shooting after the next just steadily kept going along.
Oh, I thought you
And
were going to
and,
mention that
and
your family's penchant for gun running and accidentally murdering each other or whatever it is they do.
uh, that was several generations back, but apparently that did happen.
Oh, I thought that happened in your lifetime. Like I thought that was all like I thought that was like one of my relatives may have poisoned one of my other relatives, but it was the 50s and the cops were like, maybe. I don't know. What do you want us to do?"
I don't know, but So the reason I said it's that cute news is because it's like, no, this is never going to help anything. This is never going to do anything. But y'all feel free to do nonviolent protest. Well, here's the thing: the NRA admitted in a recent court filing that it's hurting financially thanks to activism by the teenage survivors of the Parkland school massacre.
Good.
The NRA may actually have to shut down over this.
Oh my God, that's the best. Why did you say that? You should have called that. This is great news. How is this a oh, that you're retracting the making fun of protests?
Right, because it may actually work. This means the nonviolent protest may have actually miraculously caused the difference. However, keep in mind, this could just be a fundraising stunt by the NRA. So don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Wayne LaPierre.
I won't fully say, or I won't fully retract saying that's cute until something tangible comes of this. But that's a retraction I look forward to.
It was probably less the survivors of the shooting and more of the Russians can't just hand them money so they can funnel it to politicians.
The NRA was, I think, helping the.
Yeah,
I mean, they were also giving money out to the Russians' cause, but yeah, there was also plenty of money being funneled through them.
Yep.
So also, yeah, the whole NRA could be about to implode because of this whole Russian scandal, because that is coming down the pipes. And keep in mind, once we get a democratic government again, especially, or in particular, a democratic government, and we don't have the ultra obstructionist president, we're actually going to see so many more people face jail time for their crimes, because also by the time this happens and not freedom, but justice can flow again, where Mueller will have also concluded his investigation and put out his full report, so many heads are going to start rolling by then, and it's only going to speed up for probably the rest of our lives as he hands off, what's left of the case to other people to keep going years and years after he's concluded, with his investigation. There's going to be tons of other stuff to investigate.
In other news, I am really, really excited about what's his name? Bob? Is it Bob Woodward that's writing the?
Yes.
He's writing a book on the Trump White House.
That's another reason I'm looking forward to next month, and I believe everything's going to change next month, because A, the Russian trials start next month with Manafort, and B, Bob Woodward will be putting out a tell-all book from inside the White House, which you can almost consider a sort of like a sequel to Michael Wolff's book in a way, because this will be the White House after when Michael Wolff wrote about it.
If you don't know, and a lot of you guys don't know because a lot of you are young or you only listen to us for your news, which I pity you. Bob Woodward was what was it? Woodward and Bernstein were the two guys that broke the story that brought Nixon down.
Yep.
So the dude that helped bring down Nixon, hopefully, is at it again.
Woodward has, ever since Nixon, Woodward has had almost unfettered access to the White House. That's just something every administration has given him. And they've all learned that either you work with them or you get blindsided by him. Trump has refused to work with them, and so he's about to get blindsided by him.
You assume that, after Nixon, that this dude would not be welcome at the White House anymore. They'd be like, yeah, hi, Bob Woodward. And they're like, yeah, you're on the list, but specifically are told to not let you in. Please leave. We are releasing the hounds.
Release the hounds.
I mean, but I guess it's better to cozy up to this guy than get Nixoned.
And the date is easy to remember because he'll be releasing it on 9/11.
Is there a reason that they are not calling him Bob Woodward the Giant Killer yet?
I mean, they may after this, because this might be the second president he's helped take down.
This dude just seems to wield an amazing. He's our champion, and I really hope that the book doesn't suck like Comey's did. I couldn't even get through it. I started listening to part of it, and I go, "Oh, this sucks."
I've started reading it, and I've gotten as far into Comey's book as I have into Michael Wolff's book. Just a few chapters in, and I just haven't gotten around to getting back.
I devoured Michael Wolff's. If you haven't read it, get it on Audible.
Wolff's book is really good. I just haven't had the time.
Get Michael Wolff's book, Fire and Fury. Get it on Audible, wherever books are sold. If you want to read it, I listened to it on my way to work over several days. And I couldn't stop. It was so good because they just let this dude, they just let this guy in the White House and just told him everything, and he's just writing shit down, and then he wrote a book, and they're like, that's not true. Well,
That's not true. Okay, that's
Yeah.
impossible.
it's not true. That's it. You're not my real father. Yeah, my Trump impression is getting worse. Yeah, so you got that to look forward
I
to. I'm gonna go ahead and can I pre-order it on Amazon?
Probably.
Yeah, yeah,
Just look up Bob Woodward.
yeah. I'm gonna try to pre-order it. I guess maybe I'll celebrate by reading the whatever he wrote on Nixon first. You know?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that
'Cause
could be a
that's
that could be a good one.
and there's also like the Frost Nixon interview, which is actually even better.
I
Because
saw
that's
the movie, I think, or
yeah,
did
there
I
was a
see,
movie
or
that
did I
was
see
put
the
out about it.
play? Maybe I saw the play and the movie. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah. So who knows? Maybe some change is going to come soon. Oh, and for my, I wanted to do a little bit different thing to end the podcast. And I wanted to see if you were with me on this. I was going to kind of spring it on you. I kind of want to end every podcast kind of like Arya Stark ends her evenings with her prayers.
The Hound.
Yeah. So I was wondering if we could just say if we could just Arya Stark a couple of
That
people.
might end up sounding like direct threats against members of Congress if we just start naming people's the way Arya Stark names people she wants to kill.
I just want to say some names. I didn't say I was going to threaten people. I mean,
Oh, it could just be anything like Bob Woodward,
yeah.
Charizard.
Why would you say Bob Woodward?
The
There's
Hound.
a specific pattern as to why we're saying this. We just can't find. We will continue we will continue our excelism in journalism and our unbiased nonpartisanship reporting, and we will also continue to hold ourselves to the highest standards of not directly or indirectly threatening sitting members of the government or their families. There, you happy?
Yeah, I like that you called it excelism and journalism.
Exactly, it's excelism because we are the excelists.
We are the excelists.
Yeah, we're fantastic journalists. I feel bad when they unearth this years from now. They're like, oh yeah, these guys are doing a blow by blow of the Trump administration. Let's listen. The hell is this?
Yeah, like in the year like 2150, right? And they uncover this and they're like, oh shit, this is part of the history of America. Oh, this is in its final years, right before Trump nuked it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's find out what happened leading up to that.
Yeah, and you ruined my neat little surprise. Fine. Well,
Oh no.
I guess as we close and leave you for another evening, I just want to say fuck you, Steve Forbes, and fuck you, Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro,
The Hound.
Steve
Steve Forbes.
the Hound.
Cersei Lannister. Ivanka. Jared Kushner. We're gonna have to cut this.
Rudy Giuliani,
No, not Rudy. I want him to stay forever.
the Hound. Oh, we actually kind of skipped the most important part.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
What?
What Jeff Sessions did this week.
Oh yeah, did we? Yeah, okay. So yeah, I guess we can't end it until we loop Jeff Sessions in. All right. So the evil little munchkin. Lay it on us. What did this evil little munchkin do this time?
It's so much worse than the stupid little Space Force, because at least with the Space Force we knew that it was just something laughable, but this is something that could actually do real harm. The Religious Liberty Task Force. He says that he's putting this in place to protect religion, and he specifically cites like the gay cake thing.
Yeah.
So he's definitely putting this in place to attack gay people, because you see, the Constitution already guarantees protection of religious freedom.
Right.
So
But
his Religious Liberty Task Force is not here to protect, but to oppress and destroy, mostly destroy.
But here's the
LGBT
problem.
rights.
Here's the problem. Here's where these guys. Here's where they screw up. So they're all about
It's going to be the ICE, but it's going to be the ICE of attacking gay people.
I don't think so. I think it's ultimately going to be ineffective, and I think ultimately, because I thought about yeah. So what if I go to like a Christian baker, and or like what if I'm doing something and I don't know, like I wanna do everyone wants to do a Merry Christmas, and I want to do a
Happy
Satanist, like
holidays.
decorate
Oh, a
whatever.
Satanist thing.
Maybe I want to decorate my store with like fake human entrails and go hail Satan this season, right? And people are going to be
Oh.
upset, but it's my
Where,
religion,
where,
so
yeah,
what?
where's my religious? Well, but we know that he's not actually protecting religion. He's
I know, but
protecting white
it's
male
but that's the thing
straight
is theocracy is
Christians.
a double-edged sword and people don't realize that. So what happens is if you get a theocratic government and the government is based on a religion, they may not even be your specific sect. So perhaps that you're a Christian denomination that believes in christening instead of baptizing. Well, if the official line from the government is we baptize babies and you christen, you're breaking the law. You're going to jail even though you're a Christian because you're the wrong sect. You know what I mean? So it always
Oh,
backfires and it never works out well. The separation of church and state was created to separate and protect both religion and state.
yep. You'd think so, but the person who's the highest lawmaker in the land
Well, remember,
can
he's
kind
the
of
highest
just
lawmaker
trample
in the
all
land
over
because
us.
he tripped and he fell through a vortex so that he somehow became the justice of the land in a strange and weird era where he doesn't understand things and he's operating from a time in which like if you were all white it was all right and we were all Christian and women knew their place and didn't wear pants. And now, god damn it, he doesn't even understand the idea of gender fluidity. What the hell is that? People want to smoke marijuana, you know that it makes you go reefer crazy.
Yep.
I
Oh
just
my word!
That's why I said
What is all of
I
this?
almost pity him in the way that like in Lord of the Rings when who was it that what was it somebody wanted to kill Gollum and like Gandalf was like, no, we should pity him and I believe he has a greater role to play. That's what I'm saying. Like he's a horrible, wretched, evil little like my precious liberty, religious liberty
Schme-
task force. Yeah,
Schmiegel hates the gazes, he does. He.
but
But
yeah.
no, we must protect the gazes. We defend the law of the land. No, we must destroy the law of the land.
Yeah.
As he talks into a pool.
We works for Trumps, but we hates
Works for
him.
Trumpses.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I pity him in the way that I pity Golem, this like horrible little malformed thing that has been exposed to power over the year, and it has completely ruined and corrupted him.
Ah, wow, that is sort of like what happened to Gollum. He had power, and it just twisted him into this
Yeah,
abomination.
you know that's kind of the running theme, right, of that whole thing is that like ultimate
Because
power corrupts you.
Because you know that Gollum used to be a hobbit, and Jeff Sessions is right now a hobbit.
Yeah, yeah, a
He's
twisted
just a
little
tiny
hobbit.
little,
Yeah.
twisted little,
Maybe, well,
disgusting, grotesque hobbit.
maybe Jeff Sessions will steal the One Ring from the president and then fall into a volcano with it.
I mean, Trump's hands are so tiny. Do you think he wears the one ring like a bracelet?
Well, you have to remember that the One Ring could change sizes depending on its wearer, so it could even adapt to his tiny hands.
Oh, you're right. So it's like what do you call it? Ant-Man suit.
Kind of, but a ring, yeah. So,
It has to use prim particles and stuff to fit on Trump's tiny fingers.
oh god.
I guess we've kind of gone off the rails now. Do you want to name people and then get out of here?
Yeah, we said we were gonna do that, then we said we weren't gonna do that, then we did it. I think now we're done with it. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and call it there. I don't know, man. Um, all I can tell you is that I don't know, maybe Mueller's trip to destroy the One Ring uh, will finally pay off. Um, you know, what is it? The Mueller one Mueller investigation to rule them all, one Mueller investigation to find them, one Mueller investigation to bring them all, and in the darkness prosecute them for crimes.
The Hound.